The adage is, don't shoot the messenger if you don't like the message. Well, often the messenger is PowerPoint, and boy, people do want to slay that sometimes. And it's partly because we've all been through bad presentations. Lots of words on the page, bullet point after bullet point, and the speaker just reads what's on the screen to us. Nobody likes those types of presentations. We're going to give you a couple steps to help you make a better PowerPoint. Some simple things that you may want to try for the next one. Hopefully, for the next time you do it, hopefully you try one or two of these things. Some of them you may already do, but let's kind of just dig into it right away. The first thing is when you want to start up PowerPoint and start your next slide deck, don't open up PowerPoint first. Don't do it. Don't look at a blank page. Don't even try to find a template that looks nice. Start sketching your ideas. I mean, if you're handing in a term paper or you're handing in some sort of report, you're often sketching out your ideas in outline form. I do, if you have a chance to get outside, what I do is I bring a notebook and a pen and pencil, and I just start working on an outline of what I want, what this meeting or what this conversation is going to be about. And I do it a couple times just in a regular notebook. And then I might transfer it over to OneNote or something like that and keep my ideas out here. This is a talk I did a couple years ago. Again, I just keep an outline form and move things around, link things, get ideas, cut and paste things into my OneNote, and get the structure of what this conversation, this meeting, this presentation is going to be about even before I open up PowerPoint. Think about your ideas first, not necessarily, ooh, I want this color or this font or maybe this font. Don't get confused that quickly. With PowerPoint, get your ideas first. Get your ideas first out, and then get them into PowerPoint. So that's our first step. Our next step is the KISS principle. I think this came out of the Navy or something like that, and then the design world took it over. It stands for keep it simple, stupid. My dad, who was in advertising for decades and also the Navy, often says that people remember the stupid part because it's kind of funny. They forget the other part, which is keep it simple. Try one idea per slide. If you have 3 points to make 3 slides. Give it a shot because you don't want to cram too much information. A lot of times we suddenly think we're designers in PowerPoint. We look at all this white space and, okay, let's say I have to talk about something like, we're doing something with television. So, oh, I can put this television here and, oh, you know, there's a lot of space. If I move that over here, there's suddenly a lot of space. Let's put another television in. And there I can put another one in. And even PowerPoint has these nice little tools now. You see these little dotted lines that tell you when things are evenly spaced. Well, golly, that's cool. What happens if I just, and I can, look at that, and I can now, all this is cool. And those are kind of big, but you know, in PowerPoint, if I grab all of the objects, I can shrink them all at once, and now I can get a lot more into this slide. Oh my gosh, let's keep going here. Look at okay, we just get nutty, right? And we just start keeping more and more and more pictures and slides, and we forgot the idea. Okay, so try to do one thing per slide and don't worry about white space. A designer in Japan had a talk one time that he came over and they made very elegant slides and they used them, but people thought they were lazy because they weren't putting a lot on the slide. Try to stay away from that. Remember the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. Or just keep it simple, silly, or something. You know, if you don't want to have if you don't want to do the derogatory thing at the end, which is why everyone, of course, remembers the KISS principle. Now, one of the reasons that people put a lot of stuff on the slides is they want to remember a lot of stuff. I think we've all been to a presentation that has a slide like something like this that has to deal with all the different facts and figures of what a certain topic would be about. I mean, and this person's even smart that they actually use color coding to make sure it looks kind of the same color as the slide. But it's got numbers that people can read. I can't even read these and I'm a few inches away from the screen. No one will be able to read this in a auditorium or anything like that. If you're trying to get the message across of it was a very good year, you can do that with simple statement. And you can get into the facts and figures later. Now, a lot of times, people need to have those facts and figures with them, or they need their talking points in front of them because they may forget the numbers, don't have a good memory, they don't want to keep notes, or a lot of times people make slides for somebody else who's presenting them. So that's why they cram the slides full of bullet points. Well, there's a secret weapon that you can use for that, a magic bullet. And that's our third thing, is using the notes section for your for your next PowerPoint. The notes section, I'm going to, let me bring out the full ribbon here so you can kind of see the layout. The notes section is here at the bottom. If you just move your mouse down to the very bottom and click on it, you can bring up the notes section. And you can add anything here that you want to. So you can add the talking points for a certain slide or whatever and have them on that slide. You can put your facts and figures in there. So they're there. So you can either, sometimes you have to turn in your homework. You have to prove that you've done the work, so you can put that in the notes section. You can even actually print out the notes section if you needed to. But one of the things that you can do with the notes section is using presenter view when you're presenting your slides. Now, I'm not going to go heavily into presenter view. We've done a webinar on that. I have links to it and also some help and how-to information in our blog. You can click on those blog posts. But let me just show it really quick. I'm going to go to the slideshow tab and go to presenter view. And if you haven't seen Presenter View in the new PowerPoint 2013, it's one of the things that definitely have some nice improvement. But you can see everything here. You can see the slide that everyone else sees behind you. And then on the right-hand side, you can see the next slide, so you can think about what you're going to say next. You have the talking points. You can even make this font a little bigger if you needed to. You also have tools down here. You have a highlighter. You have a magnifying glass if you need to show something on the slide. You can also see all your slides at once. So if someone says, "Oh, what about that Seth Godin thing? What does he always say?" You can go right to that slide right away and click on it. So you can move around your presentation quickly if you need to. So presenter view allows your slides to be shown behind you. Everyone sees the main slides while you see the deck here. Here's the next step. Your audience is probably not 6 years old, so stay away from things that float, fly, spin, move, the animations I'm talking about. If you use animations, use only one or two. Don't use them all the time. This is the thing I hear from high schoolers and college students is teachers still use these because you can. They're in the ribbon. There's over a couple dozen of them, and people think they need to put information in and have silly things happen to their slides. Rick Altman, who I've worked with, who's a presentation guru here in the U.S., talks about if you move something on camera or you move something on the screen, your audience has no choice but to look at it. So if you're doing one of those things where, let's say transitions, you have a different transition each time, they're stop watching their presentation. There's, oh, what's going to be the next transition that pops up? So use them sparingly or effectively. And you can for here's a couple of examples. Let's say we're talking about a new place that has a new slogan and logo, and we want to introduce it in this big company meeting. We can do that with some simple animation that can bring in things one at a time and kind of show things off in a softer format, in a better, more effective. Or if you're using, here's one of my favorite examples of using, if you need to use a graph, is don't use it in Excel. Make a graph that is very simple. As you can see, there's no lines on this screen. And I'm going to the story I want to talk about is each quarter of the year and how we really nailed the fourth quarter. So in this presentation, I can just talk about each quarter generally. I don't have to show the exact facts and figures. Everyone can see which offices we're talking about. And the numbers can come in on each click. And they're coming up from the bottom to the top as you expect a graph would. But again, it's a very simple way of using animation that effectively tells your story without making it overblown. The same thing with transitions. Again, you don't want to do one or two, and you don't want to point out that you're doing a funky transition. A couple of us heard a talk last week. It was a very good talk, but she actually pointed out the 2 times that there was animation. Even went back to show us, did you notice that the picture jiggled? Don't do that. Use them effectively. And again, I use them from time to time too. I mean, I'm not saying don't use them. In fact, when I introduce a video often, I use this effect for introducing a slide, which is the curtain effect, which makes the presentation suddenly into a curtain, and then your video starts behind it. So kind of, again, use them effectively. Your audience isn't 6 years old. They don't need to be entertained and have things spin and move on the screen all the time. Plus, you're distracting your audience. The final one is sitting in the right place. Now, if you're in an auditorium or doing a presentation, the chairs are bolted to make sure everyone's looking forward on you and the screen. If you go to a meeting room often, what you do instead of being in the screen is you take the chair that's on the other end of the table. So you have the best view of the slides, which you know and nobody else knows. What I tell people is either sit here, or if in this case my head's actually blocking the screen, I'd probably sit to the side of the table and present that way. That way you have presenter view open so you can see the slides. You don't have to talk to the screen. Too often we all get in the meeting, we all look at the screen and we talk all at the screen at the same time. That's what we do. We just stare at the screen like the screen's the presenter. Now, I know this is a crutch for some people because they don't want people looking at them. I understand that. But try one meeting, come to the back of the table or the corner of the table. And again, you can probably still see out of your eye without looking at the screen if the slides are changing. But all your information's there. You can use presenter view to get all your notes. And you can see how well you're doing. You can see if you're putting people to sleep. You can read their faces if they're confused because you're trying to communicate. I mean, that's why you're having a meeting, right? You hopefully are trying to get a point across to somebody instead of just everyone working at their desk. You've brought them all into a meeting. You want it to be effective. So try sitting nearer the screen. Some people, the cords may not reach. I started bringing an extender to some of meetings just because I wanted to sit over in this area, because I wanted to present my slides to folks and talk to them, and they can see me at the same time I'm trying to communicate, and I can see them, and I don't have to worry about craning my neck over and seeing what the slides are. So 5 quick rules, the 5 quick ways you can make your next PowerPoint. I have all 5 of them plus some links to some help and how-to articles at aka.ms/better123. We'll have the video up there in a couple days. Information about the Office webinar series in general, aka.ms/offweb, and you can go there, and also you can link, we have a meeting coming up, a webinar on Outlook. You need to register in advance for our next Outlook webinar. But next week we'll be talking about starting from scratch using Office Online. One of us is going to have a PC, one of us is going to have an iPad. We're going to work together and see what we can get done in 15 minutes, all in real time. That's next week, but for today's Office webinar team, thank you for joining today's Office 15-minute webinar.